those magnificent men in their flying machines. They go up to the up, up, they go down to the up, down.
Right, so dummy engine. So to start the dummy engine, you look at this. You've got your cowling, right? Cowling's the key, right? You got your cowling. So what you do is you get a piece of paper or a bit of smoothie paper, like an old poster thing that my lovely lady got me off from her shop. You put it on, right? Go from the front of the cowling, right? Because that's the bit the engine's going to see. Right, you put it on and you draw a pen. Just get your pen, draw around it, get the circle. Okay. Once you've got your inner circle, you put a 5mm, around about 5mm rough line around it. The reason for that is I'll show you later. Right, okay? And then roughly an idea in the middle. Where's where your circle is, right, in your hole. Okay? Right, you got that. That's important, right, okay? Then, keep watching this, you camera lady. What I use is an old spray tin top. I mean, other people probably have other ideas, but... And I might add, look at the picture of the engine on the original plane. I mean, you want to get it exact, then you're going to have to go other ways. But to be honest, I mean, you know, I'm doing it this way. Not a lot of people will see it, but it's just for peace of mind. You know, you do these things. So it's just normal top of a spray tin, which is like a large normal spray cap. So you get that, and then what you do is, I mean, I always said in other videos, keep everything. See, because you've got all these perfect circles, right? You get your perfect circle. You need to look at your engine here, right? Obviously, this is your main engine, so you go out. So you can roughly get the hole size. Doesn't be perfect, that'll do, because you've got to get air in there. See? So you got your air. And then you centralise it in the middle of this, like so. Right, you can see it on there. You draw around with a marker pen. Okay, you got your marker pen sorted. Right. Let's go ahead and do this. See, you got your, you won't see it in this light, but you got your marker, it's just rough. Dremel it out. Just Dremel it out rough. Okay? And then it'll end up like this. See? Okay, and then once you've got that cut out, the middle cut out, you put it in again with your cowl on, put your cowl on, and you want to get it so that it sits away from the prop, which will be about where my finger is, and that'll end up this size. Okay, so you got that. So you got your nice little bit, it'll sit in like that, see? So it sits nicely in there. Okay, that's your main hub of the engine. Right, now it's not, this is not, I've built this so it's not too exact, because the cylinders, I believe there's 8 or 9 cylinders that go around this. But don't forget, you've got your main cylinder there, which is massive. So you just got to fiddle with it, and you've got to just like think, well, you know, it's not exact. If it was quarter scale, you would do it exact. But this is 1/6 scale. Okay, next thing you need, a piece of flexible tubing. This I got from Stairmats, as a local hardware shop. Okay, I think this is like for some sort of oil thing, but it came in handy. Any flexible tubing would do. Looks like they're cylinders of an engine. That'll do. And what you do is then, you got your centre hole there, you look at it, you measure it, like I've done there, so you got your measurement, right? You've got to measure it so that that last 5mm sticks out, because that's what's going to stick to the cowling, okay? It doesn't matter about the inset, as long as there's enough there, okay? And when you got it, you look for the seam. On here, there'll be a plastic seam, all moulding. There's a moulding that goes down, there it is. You won't see it on the camera, but there's a moulding that sits there, okay? And then what you do is, you get your pair of scissors, right, and this is what you do. You see, you mark it with a marker pen, obviously you decide equal, right, and you just simply just cut down it like so. Okay, so you got your cylinder heads, right, and then you put them on, right, line them up to the outer circle that you've got there. Now, so to put in what I made earlier, bum, bum, bum. So there you have your 5 cylinders. Okay, it doesn't matter because the back cylinder is going to be further back with the bars that are in there, right? Camera, so they're back there. Okay, that'll be set back, so it doesn't really matter. Back to the picture. Okay, sorry, camera there. I'm not being rude, but you know. Now, what I use, right? Use this paper. This is what the paper's for. This is important, right? I use just a normal microbond. That'll do. Anything will do. Any glue. Plastic it on. Put a few weights on. I use these ledgers, they'll do. Right, any weight you've got, one at a time, put them on. They don't have to be permanent because obviously they're just there to fix it. Okay, so they're in set now. They're lovely. They're in the position you want them to be. They're not outside the circle. Okay, and this is in 2 stages video. Right, so you've cut it down to size. You've got that marked. Right, you sit it on there, so you know that's going to be your centre hub. Okay, people probably have a totally different idea doing this, but this is the way I do it. Okay, so you've got it in line like I've done, right? And then what you do is you mark up each cylinder head, right, in the centre of each cylinder head, as we want to call it. We've done that. Okay, bum, bum, bum. Right, so you got all 5 in this case done. Then you get a 2p piece, which is the width of that tubing. Okay, that's the size. And what you do with that then is, right, and this is the awkward bit, I suppose. It doesn't matter how roughly you cut it, right. This is where the video starts running out. Right, okay. You just mark round it like so, okay. Right, so you got your mark in there, and then you Dremel it out, right. You Dremel it out underneath the mark, okay. And that way, right. Well, let's do it. Why not? I was going to stop the video there, but we'll do it. We'll do it. That's where the beer, right. Bear the noise. Wear glasses. Now the key is, because obviously I'm doing it for the sake of the video, right, you've already cut this piece, right, as long as it fits over like it does there, yeah, right, so you repeat the process all around all 5, okay, because once you got them, it doesn't matter if they're not cut true, because what happens now is, you got it all there, you got them all set in, so they all fit nice like so, yeah, and then you use epoxy resin. This is important, put the epoxy resin in each cut, and you drop it in. And you let it to set, 5-minute epoxy to do it lovely. Okay, and that is fire, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to go with this video, because after that I'll be the next stage. Okay, if you want to dress this bit up, then get a piece of balsa wood, cut a ring out, okay, and glue it on. Okay, but that's the first stage of the engine, because obviously, as you can see there, once it's set in, okay, it'll be all nice. There's your main hub bit, and then you just play with it. Okay, and then once, as I can say, once you've got everything in situ, I might add, I'll come to that in a minute, I just nearly forgot about that. Right, once they're glued in, right, if you want, you can do this prior or after, it doesn't really matter, but we'll get to that. This all gets cut out, and you cut these out, you know, it's only a piece of paper, you need to cut them out. This has just been set in, so you've got a place to play. Because if you try to do it without them glued in, they'll all move about and they'll drive you nuts. Right, so that's the situation. Because obviously that sits in like so. I'll show the camera lady. See what I mean? It sits well behind the prop. That's the key. And you can always fettle with this bit and cut it out once you get in position. Because that's the centre of that. And obviously the cowling goes over it. Okay, now what you need then, you've got your spray tint up. You've used your flexible tubing. Your 2p to cut out the width of the tubing. Then next thing is, right, KFC, because McDonald's don't do these anymore. They do, well, actually, I suppose them straws would be just as good because they're paper. But these are the plastic straws that come from good old KFC, right? Okay, and what you do with these, nick them. When you go and order KFC, nick loads of them, right, and keep them. Then you paint them up, right, and with the straws, these are going to be there. They set in the middle, right? They're your bars for whatever they are, the exhaust. And I'll come to that. You just plate them with a pair of pliers. Pardon me. Right, but I'll come to that in the next stage. So they're there, and then if I can get it without damaging anything. Any electrical shop will do these, whatever. You get a colour-coded fuse wire. Right, this stuff's fantastic. So yeah, and then when we get to that stage, you got always these wires that sit over the top of the, I don't know what they are for in an engine. I'm not an engineer or mechanic, but they will go over, but I'll sort that out later. Right, so they're colour-coded, so it makes it look more authentic. That's all it's about. Okay, and then we'll get to that stage when we get there, but this is the basics. So to without repeat myself, piece of flexi tubing, cut it in half, mark it, cut it off. It's all going to get painted, so nobody will see that. An old plastic tin, top off a tin, which is there. I showed you how to do that. Use a circle, right? Cut it out with a Dremel. Cut the side out after marking it, right? Once they all fit in, epoxy resin them in, okay? Once they're all epoxy resin in, cut the circle out because that'll be solid then, and then if you want to put the straws in first, yeah, Dremel it out. Just get a little Dremel and just put them in, so you've got that there, okay? and they can go in. But once that's in, you can do that after, and you know, and play with it. Okay. Right. I know it doesn't look like a lot now, but I've had to fettle with it to get it inside the cow and all that. So if I show you the picture of the real one, okay, there's the real engine. Okay. So I mean, again, as I've said before, if you want to get into really big detail, then on a quarter scale it'll be a lot easier than this on a 1/6. But obviously I'm just doing it as near as damn it. So there you go, as near as damn as it is. These are little micro nuts that I've got off of Martin Thompson many moons ago that I never used, so I've used them to imitate the bolts that are on the front of that picture, you see. These here, this is just a bit of old, this is why I say you keep everything, right? You know, when you're cutting down your I'll show you. These rods, you know, these rods here, you know, when you get your rods for your clevises and that, to your elevators and etc, etc. Well, I always keep the offcuts, you know, because they come in handy for things like this, and it's soft metal, so it's easy to bend. And then if you just turn it round, you just hook them in under the back of the plastic, and then put epoxy resin in to hold them there, okay, because obviously they'll just push into this. This is just a piece of scrap balsa. Again, I used the cup, and I found, actually I used the ring off that, that happened to be the right size, the ring for the electrical tape, so I used that as a rough cut, and then you just sand it to shape and then glue that on. These are glued, these are, because it's plastic, that this miter adhesive, that'll stick it, okay, and these are stuck on with the same glue. So the next stage, now I've fitted it all in, believe me, it all fits. Looks quite nice actually, because obviously it goes in like so, okay, so it'll sit in right there, see? Right, so the next job now is to spray it, and I've got a galvanised spray. It's like so it looks similar to that metal there, and then that'll be, when that's cured and dried, I'll then glue it. And that's the tricky bit. I'm going to glue it to the cowling, okay, so that it all comes off in one go, and that'll be that. That's that, okay, right, that'll do for now, okay, lovely, alright, bye.
Those magnificent men, those magnificent men.